Welcome to the world of sci-fi stories, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel. Enjoy the listening. In search of civilization, found humans instead. Log of scanning technician Fra Aran. Lorik of Clan Align, day 437 of year 88. I am not here to supply a system log. There's nothing to report, but what I have said every day for the last 5 cycles. We are alone. I don't mean to be the bad vibe here, but it's true we've explored a full quarter of our galaxy thus far, and we haven't even found ruins or remains. No ship or wreckage, no damaged cities, no dead worlds with remains, or even living worlds with anything but basic animal life. Nothing. I have visited, explored, and catalogued over 2,000 stars systems since I have started this job. I won't tell any of the others this, of course, but I have already lost hope. The recruitment ads all said we would meet new species and explore fantastical places and all that other crap. True, I have seen things with my own eyes that I could have never imagined. That magma planet for one, that methane world with giant worms for another, but so far 2,000 systems, and I've seen no sign of life, other than the kind that has been slowly draining from my own reflection and that of the crew around me. The captain and master of exploration have both noticed the lack of enthusiasm that has overcome us these last few months. The tension is high and mating season is barely 6 months away, which will make things worse. Unless we find something to focus on, I doubt this mission will last much longer. Log of scanning technician Aran Lorik of Clan Halloran in day 489 of year 88. There was a short burst of excitement today. We came across a Class 8 death world, barely habitable, but alive. The entire planet surface was saturated in flora and fauna of every kind, extremely aggressive, predatory, and all belonging to a very intricate food chain and evolutionary line. Massive 6-legged beasts the size of mountains roamed the landscape, high above forests of toxic mushrooms and gigantic caustic plants, a 3-tiered system of life. The giants on the top, the caustic flora at the bottom, and the 4 living on the giant creatures in the middle. The giant creatures eat the giant mushrooms. The giant mushrooms live off the detritus and mush left behind by the giant creatures. The middle ecosystem feeds into this. The giant creatures feed off the detritus and nutrients of the constant war going on their backs. Corpses and feed that can't stay up is consumed when it hits the forest floor. It is indeed an extremely intricate and beautiful system to watch, but not what we were looking for. At first, we thought it was a sign of civilization, but no, the giants' flatbacks had small rocks that looked like huts, but those were just rocks and plants that creatures hid in or used as caves. A small spark of hope snuffed out with further investigation. It's an entirely primal world driven by survival and nothing else. A beautiful place to be certain, definitely worthy of exploration, but nothing of real note. We catalogued it, put a beacon down to secure it for later use, and moved on. Log of scanning technician Aran Lorik of Clan Alarin, day 561 of year 88. Nearly the new year, and the ship is gearing up for the upcoming celebrations. Several new discoveries kept us busy during mating season, so only a few new pups were added to the ship's roster. The mission continues as usual. Besides the absent-minded malaise of busy work and ship maintenance, there wasn't much to speak of in terms of activity. No background radiation, no radio transmissions, nothing really of note to care about. Logan's log of scanning technician Aran Lorik of Clan Alarin, day 2 of year 89. The rest of the ship is under automated response at the moment, owing to the fact most of the crew is blasted out of their minds on the captain's special brew for the New Year's celebrations. I, however, am frantic. I have to write this down between sensor readings before I forget. I'm not sure if it was the booze or FTL hallucination. I saw it. We were in the hyperlane heading to our next location. Stars flying by, dust impacting the shield and vaporizing. Then slowly from left to right, a window appeared from that window, I saw a creature bipedal, mammalian, tall, predatory, with front-facing eyes and 5 digits. On 2 arms, it was holding a drinks receptacle. It obviously saw me. I saw it. It stopped mid-sip and looked at me, staring me straight in the face. It looked into its cup and then at me. It raised a hand and shook it from left to right. It curled its lips up and showed its teeth. It was a smile that some predatory or mammalian creatures use to communicate peaceful intent. I raised my right paw, shook it in the same way, and stood there dumbfounded for what seemed an eternity. Clearly sapient spacefaring life. The ship it was in must have been enormous, many times the size of our exploration craft. It was also faster than us. Despite the size, I still have no idea if it was a fluke of FTL hallucination or the booze, maybe a combination of both, considering how it seemed to be so real since it uses the same system of travel, FTL hyperlanes. I think maybe I can trace it and find where it's going. Legends. The hangover from this will be pure torture. Log of scanning technician. Firks on Lorik of Clan Outline, day 9 of year 89. I was always a lightweight. It took me a solid week for the world to stop spinning before I could get back to normal enough to work again. Apparently, my childish gabbling about to smile with sharp teeth was very amusing to the rest of the crew. I'm only now starting to recall the logs and try trace trajectories if they even existed. I'm sure it was a hallucination or drunk fit of some kind, but I'll investigate anyway. As it's my job, I haven't told anyone else about it save my drunken rambling. As soon as I'm done with this log, I'll get started. Log of scanning technician. Aaron Lorik of Clan Alarin, day 12 of year 89. It wasn't a hallucination. I have something. It's faint, but their hyperlanes leave a residue behind when a ship passes through them. Due to the fact space isn't a complete void, it can contain microparticles, dust, and gas, and consequently, every ship that passes through a hyperlane leaves a sort of tunnel behind them that is made when they fly through the debris. The debris, due to gravity and physics, eventually congeals back to normal with help from the navigations officer. We were able to create a system that tracked this tunnel. It used the density of surrounding debris and gases as the measurement, and we were able to create a form of software to model it and trace its direction. The density of surrounding gas versus the density of the tunnel gave us the evidence we needed, and just like that we founded a broad spectrum scan with this calculation included gave us a full reading of the star system's FTL gravity. Well, and there it was. Due to the size of the Dan ship, even a week later there was still a trace, small, but it was a small tunnel heading in one direction with traces of a very potent energy signature. It was now my job to convince the captain and crew that my drunken rambling wasn't in fact drunken rambling, but was me drunk, but seeing a thing that actually existed. Log ends. I have hope again. Log of scanning technician. Thurs Aaron Lorik of Clan Alarin, day 17 of year 89. After a lot of bit-itching, moaning, and blackmail, I convinced the captain to change course, to follow the FTL tunnel trace we found. We are just about to start FTL jump procedures. I hope I was right. It's lonely. Log 1 of scanning technician. TH Aaron Lorik of Clan Alarin, day 19 of year 89. We jumped as normal. 2 days of FTL travel later, we entered a system saturated in comms. Boys were cabling and satellite coverage. More importantly, it was still active and not built by us. The entire crew burst into celebration. Everyone began to frantically work and type and speak. The entire ship became a massive hive of work, toil, and tears. For the next few hours, the nav officer and I worked to trace the FTL tunnels, and there were thousands of them. This system was saturated in FTL traces and energy signatures that made us a bit scared. Before we could tell the captain about this fact, it appeared bigger than any ship we ever built by 4 times it. Minimum a super titan by our standards, and armed to the absolute teeth. Every inch of that damn thing was covered in weaponry. Some of the cannons were bigger than our cruiser on one hand, We were not alone. On the other hand, what kind of warmongering barbarians did we find that they have such large ships and so many guns we didn't get any chance to do anything about it or retreat? As the beast aimed its nose at us, a message came through, and the ship's eye screamed at us. A voice speaking unintelligible garbage squealed at us through the radio. We knew it was a warning and sent our translation unit into complete overdrive. We collectively crapped ourselves again, as by the time we had the message translated, that damn Emph was sitting right on top of us, massively armed, massively sized, and massively fast. What abominations had we discovered? We finally translated the message. Attention, unidentified vessel. You are entering the border of an active combat zone. Provide identification and reply, or we will open fire. We sent a simple reply back, followed by a biological data set. The captain chose to take no chances, and along with our message sent a full library of information relating to biology and language. We are an exploration ship from the kingdoms of Horan. We come in peace. We are sending you translation data and biological data. Please hold your fire. We waited a few seconds and held our breath again, collectively crapping ourselves as the behemoth's guns activated and aimed at us. Cut your engines now, came the angered reply. We all exchanged glances of terror and concern. Some of us even gave a final embrace as we prepared for the end. The captain nodded and shut the ship's reactor down. The engines flamed out, and we resigned ourselves to our fate. The giant ship then pulled a stable turn that would have sheared any of our ships in half and presented the gaping maw of its SID-mounted hangar base. 3 craft came out of it, latched onto us, and dragged us inside the hangar. It was massive from hope to terror. Ancestors. I'm sorry. Log 2 of scanning technician. Take X Aaron Lorick of Clan Alarin, day 19 of year 89. By lights all around us, those with windows could clearly see that the interior hangar was enormous and heavily armed. In and out, hanging in that hangar, was several dozen fighter and bomber craft, along with 2 heavily armed smaller ships on par with ours. Our ship clunked and swayed as we adjusted to the hefty gravitational pull they used here, all of us finding it hard to stand up straight. I looked out and saw a huge number of them, 6, maybe 700, all wearing heavy armor, carrying nasty-looking firearms, and lined up for inspection. Some of them hiding behind barriers, carrying even nastier-looking guns. They were ready for war, and we walked right into it. The captain stood from his chair, stoic and calm in the face of terror. He headed downstairs through the ship, past cowering families and greeted security officers. The ramp lowered, and he walked out, his poor pads making subtle pats as he moved. Log of ship captain Jandor Lauren of Clan Barak, day 19 of year 89. I moved down the ramp, holding my head high, not willing to give an inch to these creatures. If this was my last day, I would make sure the story would be told for millennia to come. I will give them a fight worth an entry in the history books. I heard a large gasp of shock from the crowd as my paws hit the cold floor of their huge ship's hangar. The creature that greeted me was slightly taller than I was. I was not amused at this provocation, and I was clearly showing my teeth at him, my jaws chattering. He smiled at me. Well, hi. Welcome aboard the U.S. Vengeance. Sorry for the aggressive accommodations, but we are in an active war zone. We had to take some drastic steps. My translator made sense of his flapping mouthy parts. He held out a hand and waited tentatively. I grabbed it and shook back. What in the name of the clan was that display? I asked. Yes, sorry, we will offer proper apologies in due time and make proper arrangements. We got your bioscan data and comms data and figured year non-human. That's us, by the way, humans. Pleasure to finally meet someone else in the universe, though I wish it were under better circumstances. We had to take drastic action and bring you aboard as fast as possible, in case him well Lytton not go there. He replied again, smiling big. You said that war zone? I asked again. Corpo. War's greedy idiots fighting over riches and wealth with armies of clones and machines. People like us are here to guard the FTL lanes and highways until the war becomes too expensive, and they eventually go away. Just needed to make sure you don't get hurt. You'll be inside our hangar bay until we are in neutral space. Sorry, but that's the rules, human or not. I have to follow them, he replied, waving his hand in an odd pattern. The soldiers around seemed to understand his odd gesture and dispersed, leaving us alone in the hangar bay for a while longer. My own troops slowly trickled out, still carrying their own weapons. I see. Well, I understand that. Well, I have a diplomat here. Officially, we will do this properly. I need to calm my crew down first. That's fine. Any fuel you need or any food supply you want, we are happy to oblige. I've also ordered contact archives to be collated and sent to your systems. Fair exchange should be easy for you to work. With that data, we can work something out. But we're engaging TL procs at the moment. We'll be in neutral space in the next hour or so. Should get you in touch with actual people to talk to, he replied. Very good, then I need to calm down. This whole situation is very strange. Stressful. I need to cool off, I said, wiping a bead of sweat out of my fur can. I do something first though, just one thing. It's not serious. I just need to see something, he said. Okay, so long as you aren't going to dissect me or anything, I replied with a brow raised. He simply smiled back and reached into a pouch, showing me a brightly colored yellow ball. He squeezed it and it made an incredibly tantalizing squeak noise. Images from my childhood flashed in front of me. My ears perked up, my tail wagged, and I lost all senses as he threw the ball. Instinct took over, and with careless abandon myself and two others charged after the furry yellow sphere. I got into a scuffle with the other two and returned to the human in charge, who was unable to wipe the huge smile off his face. I had the ball in my mouth, absent-mindedly squeaking it. As I chomped down on it, I suddenly realized what a fool I made of myself and hid the ball behind me. Mildly embarrassed at my display, I cleared my throat and tried to keep my composure stable. All right, I'm keeping this, but thank you for the escort. See you all later. As I walked back into the ship, I caught him saying something sapient. Space does. Our prayers have been answered. Not only are we not alone, they like squeaky balls and our admirable floof to boot. Hallelujah. Thank you, God's diplomatic log of unsecurity. Council, January 17th, 11:34 a.m. local year, 2557. We have completed first contact procedures with the Canis sapiens majoris, known as the kingdoms of High Siren, colloquially termed sapient space, as they are a race of space-faring humanoid canines with a mixed structure of both feudal monarchy and basic democracy, leaving royal to form councils that vote on matters. Each planet has its own king or queen. They have appearances similar to border collies, German shepherds, and huskies. Tails, ears, and fluff included. The public is so enamored with them, we have had to increase security whenever they visit. Thus far, we have confiscated 2,835 squeaky balls, toys, and other such items from staffers and civilians within the last month. The public is more concerned with the fact they are a sapient species than they are anything else, so we have no issues on that front. There are no concerns with any potential conflicts arising, as their main planetary operations seem to be far from us even. So their military strength doesn't even try to compare, but we are more interested in peace anyway. No territorial disputes will come for a long time when it comes to a certain aspect of human life. Ergo, our dogs, they seem oddly okay with it. Genetic testing has them as far away from our dogs as possible, and they too seem enamored with the animals as we are. There was, however, an incident where an alien ambassador and one of our staff's dogs got into a bit of a fight over a large rubber bone toy that was hilarious. We have come to the conclusion that following activities will be fruitful. We will get along just fine, but as per usual, some rules have been put to paper to prevent any diplomatic incidents, and internet safety protocols have been revised. The aliens have given us access to their exploration data, and the sheer amount of it has the entire exploration and settlement community in an uproar demanding access and rights to various death worlds and unique planets. They have access to ambassadors, and traders will be busy for decades to come with this data. The aliens themselves don't seem to have our sense of adventure, so they don't seem to care if we lowball them with offers for these planets. We are going to be busy for a long time.